Just a week after President Trump floated the idea of a 50-year mortgage to make home buying more affordable, people are still talking about it. Fox 26's business reporter Tom Zizka is looking at what benefits there might be and the pitfalls of such a deal.
Caroline, the basic numbers and the basic fact is true that the president's right, that stretching out the time it would take to pay off a mortgage would make for smaller monthly payments. But we're talking about 20 years beyond the traditional 30-year mortgage to do that. And I'll show you what those numbers might look like in just a moment. But first, the central problem here is getting worse. It is the affordability crisis in housing. The average price for a home in the Houston metro is almost $425,000 today, according to HAR, and that number keeps trending up. The first home that my wife and I bought in Houston 27 years ago for $186,000 is now valued at that average price point. So there is just not enough inventory that first-time home buyers can afford, which is why the idea of smaller payments is getting some attention. There is, however, a significant catch that people need to consider. Realtor.com crunched some numbers on an imaginary mortgage here. They say a buyer purchasing a $400,000 home today with 10% down at the current 30-year rate of 6.25% would pay about $250 less per month under a 50-year mortgage under those same circumstances. The expensive trade-off, though, is the interest payments for the 30-year mortgage would be about $438,000 versus $816,000 for the 50-year note. That's an 86% difference and an increase for the 50-year note. On top of that, the shorter-term borrower would own much more equity in the home than the longer term. Some real estate experts do not dismiss the idea completely here, but say there's really a lot here to fix.
If these mortgages were well targeted and were not broadly taken up, there might be some room for them. I come back to, we can't rule anything out because the problems are not just on the mortgage rate, but also on the price of housing and the availability of building lots. So there needs to be local and states coming together with the federal government to help solve this generation's barriers to homeownership.
And when she talks about generational barriers, the average age for the first-time home buyer these days is now 40 years old, also a number that keeps going up. The longer mortgages could provide smaller payments, but also make it difficult for owners to have anything to show for their money. It's kind of like renting. It's an interest-only kind of home ownership set of circumstances. On top of that, it would take a literal act of Congress to create a 50-year note. Current law caps them at 30 years maximum as we speak. Something to think about. Watching your money. I'm Tom Zizka, Fox 26 News.